Now is Nicole Malliotakis, the Republican New York Congresswoman, who's leading an effort with some of her Republican colleagues to change things in the way ICE is notified of any possible migrant arrested on any type of crime. That now is being called Lakin's Law. They want to get passed, and the sooner the better. Congresswoman, very good to have you.
Well, great to be with you. Thank you, Neil.
Where does that stand right now, this measure, and how much support it has?
Well, as you know, we've been pushing the New York City Council to repeal the law that they put in place with Bill de Blasio back in 2014 that prohibited NYPD from cooperating with ICE. The mayor came out for making some changes. Now he's kind of backpedaling on that. So it's very difficult for us to get any cooperation from the Democrats to make sure that people who are committing crimes in our city and state are deported. I commend my state senator, Andrew Lanza of Staten Island, who has now introduced legislation on the state level to require all local law enforcement to cooperate with ICE detainer requests. Look, if ICE under Joe Biden is requesting a detainer to deport someone, you know that person is very, very bad. They're probably convicted of a crime in their home country. They've probably been either entered and deported multiple times and are continue to evade authorities, or they've committed a crime here and have been released. Because Joe Biden, as we know, is just welcoming everyone. In fact, this guy got parole. The person who killed Lakin got parole from Joe Biden. And then when he was arrested for a crime in New York City, he was released instead of turned over to ICE. So we do need cooperation from the Democrats who control New York City and New York State government if we're going to get something done here, but we got to keep the pressure on them.
Just to be clear, he wasn't paroled personally by Joe Biden. I understand the system essentially allowed him to escape.
Well, Joe Biden's rules.
I know you're trying
Joe Biden's rules.
Okay, that's fine. But I did want to get your sense then of how far you think this can go. The president is set in his State of the Union address to reverse some of the policies he enacted when he took over on day one of his administration, including some of the asylum rules that were very, open and to even fellows like this guy. And I'm just wondering whether you think that will do much, because it's kind of open-ended.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about, Neil. He came in and made a number of changes, roughly over 60, actually, different changes using his executive authority, and included making changes to parole, where he allowed X number of Venezuelans to come in and seek parole. And it's unfortunate that some of those individuals have gone on to commit crimes. We saw, police officers being attacked in New York City as well. So I think what we want is for Joe Biden to use that very same authority that he used on day one to actually make changes for the good.
All right. I should say we have called the New York Mayor Adams' office and ICE officials in Washington. We've not heard back. Hope springs eternal that we will, Congresswoman. But I want to step back for this because you want to make this, at that same State of the Union address, a major statement that what's happening at the border is a major concern, including one of your guests you'll have sitting with you. Could you explain?
That's right. I'm bringing NYPD Lieutenant Ben Kurian, who was one of the officers attacked by the individuals who are being kept in New York City at one of these migrant hotels that our mayor opened. I believe it's important to bring him, number one, to show support and thanks to our NYPD officers who do really an amazing job under difficult conditions, and they oftentimes do not have the support of the local elected officials. But also to bring attention to how this border policy of our president is affecting cities like mine. This is unnecessary what happened there. It should have never happened. And that is why we're calling on Joe Biden to use the existing authorities that he has under 1225, sections 1225 and 1182, where he can, on his own, reinstate remain in Mexico. He can end catch and release. He can make changes, as you mentioned, to the asylum and to parole. He can actually shut down the border completely if he wanted to. In fact, these are all authorities that President Trump used at one time or another. So we're just asking for common sense. I'm the daughter of immigrants. We want to have immigration to continue legally. I've actually helped over 100 people become U.S. citizens from my district who have come here the right way and did everything, followed the rules. That's all we're asking for, is for people to follow the rules and for this administration to stop allowing people who are dangerous people, unvetted people, to come into our country.
Speaking of President Trump, Congresswoman, you are always, and I was just looking this morning on the short list of possible running mates for him, and that is one name that doesn't change, yours. You're on that list. Are you interested?
I don't think it's me. I think you may be confusing me with my colleague Elise Stefanik. But I'm happy with my role.
I see you a lot of times, and I'm just wondering what you make of that. I mean, would you entertain that? What do you think?
No, obviously, I don't think I'm interested in that role. I like my job in Congress. I want to do the best I can for Staten Island and Brooklyn. This is a job I've always wanted, Neil, and I'm here and I want to do the best I can with the resources that we have. I hope to serve with President Trump, however, with him being the president and me being in Congress, because I think we'll be able to get a lot more done for the American people and address these issues. Remember, when President Trump was there, right, we had a 50-year low of unemployment record.
Right.
We had people were working. Wages were up. People were being lifted out of poverty. Our border was secure.
But you make the most potent case on migration and what's happening there. I don't want to sound like I'm being obnoxious about that, but that I think could be something very key to your party, because it was ahead of this as an issue very early on.
That's right. It is a big issue, and I continue to advocate and work with my colleagues for common sense. That's all we're asking for, law and order and some common sense, and we're not getting it from this administration.
All right, Congresswoman.